Hey chat, how we doing today? I I've got some interesting news, that's for sure. So what's the stream going to be about this week? So I'm going to be continuing the Sly Cooper scene that I was building from a couple weeks ago. Now I do have some work done on it so far, but I've got a enormous list of things to do. So I'll just grab that. There we go. Now I'm just going to pull this on screen so y'all can see just the amount of things that I have to do for this. So I've got tiles, windows, roofing, pipes, ropes, all that sort of fun stuff. So instead of going into the stream blind and trying my best to extrapolate from there, I've actually got a list of things that I can work with here. Now, I'm not necessarily going to do the list in order, but I do want to continue doing the tiling. So I'll just get rid of this stuff here. Why isn't this stuff disappeared? What have I done? Spears? Okay, yeah, those are the spears. Wow, looks like you've been working hard. I'm really impressed. Thanks, I'm glad you liked it. Still a long way to go, though. So, this thing here. The absolute pest that is tiles. So, if I hide all that. So, I did want to do this as a texture initially, but with the way this is going, I'm not entirely certain that would be in my best interest. Also, with these ones, I can't exactly randomize the positions either, so I'm going to have to find out whether I want to make this a flat texture or if I want to make the roof tiles be like that, because I'm just looking at this, and obviously this is a texture. God, the image is so great. Like, these things here are textures, as is these ones here. Wait, are you doing the boat model? Uh, if you're thinking about Benchy, no, that's not the way that I'm doing that. I'm going to be hopefully constructing a whole cruise ship, more or less. But that's coming much later until I can get the rest of the town done. So I'm trying to, like, there is no good textures for tiles here. Like, there's these, but you can barely see the things. Now, something that is going to be rather interesting to try and logic is these here. So, the flat tiles are easy enough, but these corner textures are going to be an absolute pest to try and work with. Like, there's these ones up here. Yeah, so, like, if you have a building that, like, is basically just a square like these ones here, more often than not, like, this technically doesn't work. But I suppose in this case it does because it has wood. But if you're doing tiles, like these other buildings, you're going to have these corners here. And I actually haven't, like, I noticed it when I was on a walk, I'd like to say about a week ago. And I need to create that particular object. Roof tile corners. So I need to, yeah, here we go. So these things here, I suppose that shouldn't be too difficult to create. So if I'm going to do that, would I be better off just creating the tiles and just instancing them? The only problem with instancing them instead of duplicating them is the fact that the color doesn't change. So, like, I could have all the colors I want, but I have no way of actually randomizing them. Not unless there's a way to randomize the color through instancing. Is there a way to randomize color through instancing? Randomize texture. Okay, the objects are not separate. So it's only as long as the objects are separate. That's annoying. So editing... Oh wow, this is like a really old documentation. Randomized texture for group instance. That might be more up my alleyway. The scene buildings are arranged on both sides of the street. I'll just pull this up so everyone else can see it. 4 cubes of the same material. Pink. That works greater than less than going into a minimum. This is this Geo? This might be Geo. No, this is material nodes. So this is an instance then, right? Because you can't... So I don't really want to be making duplicates of these things because it will absolutely just destroy the amount of polygons in the scene. Because, like, looking at this, like, this is a lot of geometry to be continuously copying. Like, I could probably knock out the back side of this. So, from here to here, I can probably just... Oh. Wait, is this... This isn't... thing, is it? Oh, this is solidified. That's why it looks like that. So if I remove this... Wait a minute. Hang on a second. So why is that... Okay, there we go. I guess for whatever reason, just decided it didn't want to play ball. So if I removed these, it would certainly decrease the amount of geometry, and I can also just delete these interior ones here. Both of them preferably, thank you. Now if I merge by distance, make sure to remove all that. Yeah, that certainly helps. And then that should be propagated to the rest of these because they all share the same geometry. Which I think knocked off about, I want to say 10,000. Well, no, not 10,000, but... It knocked off like 2,000 extra triangles that I didn't need. So as long as I manage to keep these... Oh, interesting. Why are these... Are these straight duplicates? They're straight duplicates. So these have to be instants then, right? Okay, yeah. So instancing does actually work in this case. I'm just silly. Now, the actual backs of these don't matter because I am going to be having like a bit of a frame around the bottom just to make sure that that you don't see the tile from the underside of the house. So if I GX here, so all these should be instanced. So I think this 8,794. Oh no, she's got shingles. Everyone run. I don't know how to build houses, buildings, apartments, or stores. Yeah, it's certainly a work in progress, that's for sure. So why is this creating extra geometry if I'm going to be instancing this? It shouldn't be creating extra. So, like, I can Shift D this, obviously. But Alt D'ing should not be doing that. And I guess this is why I elected to go with the texture in the first place. I don't think she has shrines to be TBC. I'm not sure about that one. I mean, shingles. Yeah. I mean, technically, this is what these are called. Roofing tiles are called shingles. Which could probably confuse quite a few people with the doctors if somebody's doing a roofing delivery, but you know. Things happen. Now, I had the texture. I think I was having problems with it because I couldn't get it to seamlessly loop. So in order to get these to seamlessly loop, I would need to do what exactly? I'd have to basically extend the texture out, right? But I tried that before and it didn't really work out the way that I'd hoped it would. Because this is about as far as the aperture can extend to. So if I wanted to extend it any further, I would have to mess around with the camera settings, right? Oh, just get rid of that. I just want to get to my camera, thanks. So, going into here, the orthographic scale. If I set this to, say, 4.4, I need to recenter this, but I'm pretty sure I can get away with. Do we think that much, maybe? Or 0.15? I'm just trying to eyeball this. Yeah, I think 0.8. So now, if I mess around with the output, can I then scale? Okay, no, because it goes like to square and then it goes in the other direction. So my best way to go about this would probably be to crop the image. You know what, that could probably work actually. I would need to... Okay, I just need to... Can we just not have anything selected for a second? Thanks. So I'm just looking at the top here. There's like a little bit of poking out there, but I can just... In fact, can I just move the camera down slightly? Yeah, that's a little bit more appropriate. Now what I can do is I can hit the render on this, and then I can just essentially like crop off the edges of the image and we should be good to go. Now the image itself is decent. I might... Do I want to edit the coloring on this? Probably not, because this is giving really good shading. So yeah, just crop the edges of the image essentially. Okay, so I'm gonna save this for now. So save this to textures. Actually, I'm gonna create a temp folder. Temp textures. And then I'm going to make this roofing tiles round 1. Alright, so we've got that going. Now, the reason I've done that is because I do still need to get a couple more things in order to make this a viable... Like, basically a viable texture. So I need to add a plane in. I'm gonna set this to... Where is my tiles? Here they are. So now I want this thing. I'm gonna RY90. Actually, no, RX90. Now to get this out. It is in face mode, not edge mode. And then the bottom edge. Now I need to scale both of these. I need to make sure that it's the medium point. Yep. Okay. So going into here, I'm going to scale this up to there. So it's on the edges of the camera. Now what I can do is I can set all this to be an object. Now, the color here does not matter as much as it does the actual position of these tiles. So I'm going to hide the action for now. I want to make a duplicate of this collection here. So I'm going to grab all these. I'm going to duplicate collection. I'm going to hide the first one. I'm going to grab all of these. These ones can go. I don't need these. So grab, move those all out of the way and delete those. Don't need them right now. Now, grabbing all of these, with the exception of that one, I'm going to center it on, that tile. So, Control J to join. And now that's just going to turn into this regular brown color, which is fine. And now, I need to go into the shading editor. And I need to convert this to the high poly to low poly texture. So this is going to give me all the information that I need for this texture. So I'm going to disconnect that. And now I'm going to grab this object here to this object here. And I want to bake the normals. And I'm going to give this a test bake. Kind of looks like a part of the lasagna. Well, for me it is. Yeah, I can sort of see it actually. Alright, so Control A, make sure I've applied the scale. Make sure I've applied the scale on this thing too. And I want to make sure that this is shaded smooth. And same with this one. Actually, I probably don't need to shade smooth on this one. I'm going to shade auto. Same here, and now I need to new texture. We're going to call this roof tiles. We need a couple image textures here, so grab both of these and add a new one. We're going to call this roof normals. 2048 on that, and yeah, okay. So that's the normals. We want cavity as well, so roof tile cavity, and these two need to be swapped around. So this is the first image. This is going to be a non-color, as is with this one. And I want to bake the normals to this specific one here. So I grab these two. Normal, don't have cage, max ray distance extrusion. Is this 0.3 meters? Is this 30 centimeters? It's probably in excess of 30 centimeters, to be honest. Alright, so select active, hit the bake, and hopefully it works. Okay, that might be a problem. Because I'm just thinking this texture needs to be different. Resize. I need to resize it based on this here. So 2230 by 1080. So resize to 2230 by 1080. So resize that. And now if I hit the bake again, it should work the way I intended. Oh, whoops. That is not the bake button. That is definitely not the bake button. Alright, that's the bake button though. Alright, so this should, if I hide this for a moment, now I need to add a bump here. So add that. I'm currently flirting with a female. Apparently, the only women I have an easier time talking to are autistic, and I know she is because she put it in her bio. Man, do I have news for you? I wonder how we could have guessed that one. Okay, something strange is going on here. Oh, actually, I know what it is. It's because that's enabled. That, like, the... Okay. So here's the thing, right? The roof tiles being active in camera here actually actively messed with this. So I need to rebake this a third time. So, grab that. Grab that one. And then, hopefully, third time's the charm. Oh, you've only just realized, huh? So if I hide this, why is it uber stretched? Save as roof normals, yeah, sure. Now, I should be able to refresh this. Okay, so something's definitely janky here. What could have caused this problem? Because the actual tile itself is fine, but the normals certainly aren't. I wonder if the extrusion distance is too far. Alright, let's give this another swing. I'm willing to do this as many times as required. So... that... bake. So that is... okay, that's completely normal here. So I need to save that. And then I need to reload the image. If I hide this... okay, really? Come on now. Is it because the strength is... no, I think it might be because the strength's too high. Or is it the distance that's causing this issue? Yeah, it... sometimes things like this just happen. So it's really just my job to figure out why it's doing that. Does it look cool? I mean, it looks interesting, but it's not the result that I'm aiming for, so to speak. Or bad. Yeah, it's not working out the way that I intended for it. So, maybe... box project? Okay, no, definitely not. If I control T this... no. That is not working out the way that I expected it to. Oh, actually, it might be because I'm using the wrong setting. Yeah, I'm just an idiot. See, now it's working the way that I wanted it to. Yeah, it wasn't working out the way I intended to, but it's just because I was using the wrong node to map this, so... what I was using was this, which is called the bump node. And normally, I would only really use this node if I was doing textures. I've already said stuff I would cringe at in the future, but she's matching the energy. Honestly, like, that's great. Don't say you're an idiot, you're a good builder like Bob. I mean, to be fair, my brain can be a bit silly sometimes. But yeah, I only really use the bump node if I'm making procedural textures. But if you're doing textures based off of, like, actual physical objects being turned into images, the one you want to use is the normal map. And that is why I sort of failed that. Okay, so I can unplug that now. Now the next one is cavity, which is considerably easier. So I just need to grab these two. I need to double check to make sure that I've plugged this in properly. Now I need to turn that on. And now I need to adjust these values to make sure that the texture is working out the way that I want it to. Because there is... You can't see it with the actual tiles themselves, but there is a small gap here that I want to try and get the texture for. Like the... what we call occlusion for. In fact, I think I already have the occlusion for this. Yeah, okay. So I probably need to ease up slightly on the dark values. Probably like 0.43. I probably need to lower this slightly. Maybe 0.60. 660. Okay, so that will give me the texture that I need. So now if I grab these two here and set this to, I believe it was diffuse that I was using, right? Yeah. So now if I hit the bake button on this with the roof tile cavity selected, I should get a black and white image. Oh, I do need to change the texture sizing, actually. Oh, that's pretty decent, but that's not the size that this image is. So, what did I say this texture was? 2230 by 1080. So, resize 2230 by 1080. Okay, now I can bake it properly. So, hit there, and we should be good to go. Now, I can image and then save as rooftop cavity. Alright, cool. Now, if I hide this, plug this in, and then plug this in, now it looks like roof tiles, but the entire thing is just a flat image. I love how this works, honestly. Now it's time to take a quick detour. We're opening up something other than Blender today. Because we need to trim the sides off this texture. Also, ignore the ignore the history. Alright, so I'm gonna open image here. So it's under textures and temp textures. So we'll start with this one first. You know, it'd be really interesting if I decide to make Roblox games in the future. I absolutely could if I wanted to. Okay, so now I need to... Your gallery looks cool, though. Most of them is just really memey images. Just things that I've messed about with in the past. Okay, so I want the anchor to be central, and I need to decrease the width. I'm going to start with minus 50, so that would be 2180. And I'm not going to bother constraining the proportions yet. So we're just going to continue messing about with this until I don't see any more transparency. So where is my resize? Control C. So 2130 perhaps? Okay, so Control C. I'm gonna set this to 2140, make sure that it's not just... Okay, so... First of all, I've noticed this is slightly off-centered, which is fine. So I am going to stick with 2130 for the sake of just making things a slight bit easier to work with. So 2130. Alright, cool. So I'm going to save this. So I'm going to set these ones here to be old, so I don't accidentally mess about with stuff. So roofing tiles brown 1. No, it doesn't. Get over yourself. Roofing tiles 1 does not exist anymore. Please stop doing this. There we go, and I'll set this to be 1. Because the detail doesn't matter here because it's being used directly in Blender. And now I am gonna save a copy of the original file too. Just so if something goes wrong, I can just go back and fix it. Alright, now open new. Actually, I can just open from here. So I'm going to open the normals. And then I need to give this the exact same. Control-C. Oh. I wonder why it did that. Weird. So 2130. And then this is going to be in the middle. So that should be the exact same now. I'm going to say this is roof normals. I need to rename the old one though. Save that. Just save as, and then set that to roof normals. Make sure that stays at 1. And then save this as the base file just so then I have this again just in case something goes wrong. And then we need the cavity texture. So, yep, same as before. Oh, I forget that right clicking just brings up a wheel. Control C. I don't use this software nearly as often as I should, quite frankly. Then save as, so we want roof tile cavity. Make sure I rename this old one. So save that. And then save as, and okay, cool. Now the fun thing with this now is I can actually grab this and I can reload it and it will automatically resize to the thing that I wanted. So now what I have to do is I have to go into which mode here? This one's probably the easiest. So now with this active, I need to rescale this to be the same size as the tiles themselves. So GX there. Make sure it's in the correct position. And then grab this one as well. So now that's the exact same size as the tiles. So now when I go ahead and grab the roof normals, I can reload this, and now that will fit the size correctly. Duplicate. Actually, I'm just going to add a new image texture. I'm going to open the roof tiles. Did I not Hang on. So, temp textures, and then roof tiles brown. There we go. So now, this is, yeah, color image, so I need to Control Shift right click to mix these. And I need to darken. Hang on, something's not right here. What happened? Did something go wrong? Why did this... This should be the exact same size, so why is it not... Why is this not working the way that I wanted it to? Roofing tiles brown. So this should be the exact same size, right? Image, resize. 2120. Did it glitch? 2120. That's not the size that I had this set to, right? I think I messed up somewhere, chat, and this is why you always keep backups. What did I do wrong? So hang on, I'm gonna open the old texture. So this one should be 2130. So 2130. Based around that. Save as roof tiles brown. Yes. And this chat is why you always keep backups in case something goes wildly wrong. Image. Reload. And yet somehow it's still broken. What has happened here? So, is the normals broken, maybe? I thought Oh, that's the correct size. And reloading it doesn't seem to do anything. So, roughness is 0.8. So, for whatever reason, either the normals or the actual tile image themselves is off from everything else. So which one's the broken one? It would have to be the normals, right? Because the cavity and the actual image texture is just fine. Because, like, I'm looking at this, and, like, there's no issue here. So something's gone wrong with the normal map. Actually, why is the normal map at that high, first of all? Yeah, the normal map is off-centered. Alright, so I need to fix the normal map. That should be easy enough. So, open the old normals. And then, yeah, there's just some weird thing going on here where the thing just decided that it wanted to break for whatever reason. So if I do what I did before and just edit this to be 1. So this should be the exact same size as everything else now. Hopefully. So that should be saved. Now if I reload this... Yeah, it's still broken. What the heck? So why would this not work properly? the positioning is correct. There's some weird issue here, but that's usually reserved for like down the bottom here. So why is that not in the correct position? I'm gonna control. Oh, I don't need to control T all of those, just the one. Okay, you know what? Just delete all those. So I'm gonna texture this. Actually, let's grab this, control T. So if I shift the mapping down, so the actual position of these should be... Oh, 0 here. Like 0.008. I'm just trying to gauge as to what went wrong here. So, like, this is roughly where I expect this texture to be. But it's 0.007 meters, like, moved too far, basically. So I wonder... Oh, it's, like, really disjointed, actually. So the mapping was incorrect at some point on this. Trying to think of why it would do this. Okay, that's in the weird position now. Let's try adding an extra 5 on there. So yeah, some of these are just super disjointed. I know, like, the movement that I was doing for these wasn't perfect, but why would it be... Doing this is beyond me. To be fair, probably even without the normals, it's fine. But for whatever reason, there's like this white bit here, which doesn't really need to be here either. And then... Oh, the rest of this is fine. Although there is a bit of a weird black outline here, which probably doesn't need to be there. Could also just be because of the... Yeah. It's just because of the camera. So... Even if I were to manually remove those, it probably wouldn't do me any favors. I could probably get away with cavity if I fix the normals though, so I'm gonna do just that. So for this, it's a pretty easy fix. All I'd have to do is just copy and paste a layer of this stuff. So, well, don't need to do that. I keep accidentally rotating the canvas. So, copy that. And then paste it. But then I want this to be moved downwards. Okay. I have no idea why Karita is so weird with that, but whatever. Okay, so that should be in the exact same position. So then, Control V. Nope. So then Control V. Except now it's not doing what I asked of it. I'm tired, going to bed. Good night. Good night, Diamond Ally. Hope you have a good sleep. Oh, okay, no. I need to have this one enabled here. Oh, come on now. There's no need for this. So then copy this and paste it. Alright, and then one more. Well, actually, two more technically. And then copy that and paste it. So now this should work the way that I hoped. Okay, and then removing that. If I refresh this now, this should reload. Okay, so all those are gone now. Now if I... Okay, what happened here? There we go. Okay, so yeah, that works a lot better now. I guess there must have just been some weird issue with the way that the clipping and shading worked with me removing maybe the backs of the tiles. That could certainly be an issue. But anyway, I managed to get that working at least. So... Oh, and the weird white bit from the side is gone too. I guess there must have been some issue there. Anyway, roof tile low poly. So I'm going to duplicate this. I'm going to move it up. And yeah, bring back this. So now, if I move this across to here. Okay, I need to set the origin to be the middle of the geometry too, just so I don't have any issues in the future with rotating. Okay, so I need to attach to the face, and I need to align rotation to target. So grab this on the Y. And now, if I just remove the rotation for a second here. So now that's like that. Now I do know there is a way to... Okay, so I'm going to go into edit mode here for just a moment. And now I believe there's an option here. Yeah, correct face attributes. Now if I believe it's extrude this. Yeah, so that goes on indefinitely now. Now I want to know why. Is it because of... Oh, it's because of that. So, like, if I hide that now... Yeah, the tile works. So, this would work just fine. So, if I just move this along the X, this works perfectly, actually. Now, if I wanted to fix the scale of this, I probably could. So I'm going to go into edit mode and just scale this up slightly. I don't really want there to be overlapping, like, weird tile shenanigans going on. So, Shift Z. Like, I want there to be some scale to these things. And now, if I go in with the correct face attributes option, I should now just be able to move that back. Oh. If I rotate this... Okay, what I can do is I can move this out towards this vertex. So right here. And then extruding this out. I can now rotate this. In fact, probably don't even need to rotate this. I just need to grab this right here. Grab this one to right here. So now we've got pretty even tiling going on. If I were to hide this... Yeah, it's fine. And, like, looking at tiles here... Like, this is exactly how tiles on roofs work. This is just the way that they work. So the only thing I'd need to do is maybe make a... just a physical object to cover the seams here, but that's not the end of the earth. Like, they don't rotate in towards the... what is it, like, roof corner? So if I extrude this out... and just snap these to the correct positions. So now if I merge these... Oh, interesting. They're not removing the vertices? We need to, yeah, scale that up slightly. What have I done here? Was I not supposed to... What the heck? Why is it doing that? Oh, something weird's gone on here. Now, why has it done this? Oh, it's because of the roof normals. Yeah, that's definitely not meant to be like that. Okay, yeah, that makes more sense. Okay, so now I should be able to just edit this here. So, extrude that out. Grab that. And then same on the other side. That right there, and this one back here. Merge that by distance. And now I should be able to just duplicate this and... Oh. I want to duplicate that, thanks. So now if I just G... C... Okay, now... D... I'm gonna need to Right. So first of all, I need to set the origin of this thing to be the geometry. Set origin to geometry. RZ 180. Y Z. Okay, weird. Okay, what are you doing? Why are you like this? Oh, it's because it's the closest. I'm dumb. Alright, cool. So we should just about have a building here, actually. Is the tiling too detailed, maybe? Because I'm just realizing now, like, the bricks are quite large compared to the tiles. So I'll just pull that back into here. The tiling is roughly similar. I mean, there probably could have been a few less, but that's whatever, you know. And plus, the tiles aren't really well defined in the series. Like, of any building. Like, this one here, I think, is quite detailed, too. Just looking at these other buildings. Is there... This is the problem with trying to pick up information about the first 3 Sly Cooper games. Is the fact because they're all on... I think they're all on PS2, actually, the first 3. Since they're all on PS2, the quality of these is kind of dog water. And these images here don't help. I'm going to need a couple more. Slide 2. I'm going to say probably... Maybe Black Chateau might be my best bet. I just need to find good images for this. Okay, so yeah, this here. These are quite large. Also, they don't have any of the roof, like the corner roofing tiles, which is fine. I probably don't need to do it, but I'm still gonna put corners on. Oh, there's corners on that one though, so why doesn't the safe house have any? That's strange. Also, that is not the most flattering photo of him. Alright, so I need... Man, it is tough to find good rooftop images. Actually, come to think of it, these bricks are a lot more textured than I realized they were. Okay, so maybe I need to be more detailed instead of less? It doesn't make sense though, because the roofs are... Oh. No. Naughty. No videos. Thank you very much. Yeah, like the texturing on, like, say the walls and the roof here are, like, not very detailed. But then you look at actual bricks and they're, like, surprisingly detailed. Let's have a look at Sly 2 gameplay. Will probably be my best bet here. Okay, so, like, the leaf, like, the textures for the leaves, like, all this is... I just realized how weird the art style of this game is. Because half the time, it's, like, surprisingly intricately detailed. Like, the growths here, like, they're all vines and that. There's berries and all that sort of thing. And then, like, you look at the ground, it's like, oh, yeah, it's sort of textured. And then you look at the car and you're just like, huh? And, like, the actual art style within the game works. But when you actually go ahead and examine it, it just seems strange. Like, the only consistent thing with this art style is the wonkiness, like, from the actual artwork. So I'm looking at this image here, right? This is, like, a really tiny image. But yeah, there's, like, a lot of tiling here, so I think I'm right in giving the tiles making the tiles look like this. The problem is, because I've done it like this, I can't give it any additional... I suppose higgledy-piggledy would be the best word here. Like, the tiles do need some more life to them, I must admit. But for now, like, I can probably just get away with a placeholder here. So, grab that and just put everything back to the way it was. Okay, and... for now, I'll keep this the way it is. Oh, did not mean to do that. Okay, Alt D and rotate that. Oh, did not mean to hide that. And now, yeah, that should be relatively consistent. Okay, this one here probably just needs to be moved out a smidge more. Now that's interesting. Why is it doing that, I wonder? Okay, that should hopefully be a little bit more consistent. Alright, now there should be no more gaps here. That's fine. Alright, so... admittedly, I could have probably done a better job of this here, but... I mean, it's not terrible. This bit here is just a tiny bit distracting, but... when it's actually covered up with stuff, it's not nearly as blatant. And it might just be a thing with the shading. So if I rotated this object, right? Like if I rotated it around the other direction, it's not nearly as blatantly obvious. So, yeah, this is just the regular textures. Alright, cool. So let's see how this fares on a larger scale. So, hide this. Actually, where is this located? Okay, it's literally just right there. So I need to be careful whenever I'm removing this. In fact, I'm gonna move this to the main collection now. So I'm gonna delete that. Don't need that anymore. So I'm gonna keep that as is. I'm just gonna chuck it in this collection so I don't lose it. Now, if I bring back the guttering here... oh, how did that happen? Okay, so if I bring back the guttering... yeah, it's not too bad. I'm probably going to need to add some pipes and whatnot to it, but it works. Somewhat. Also, definitely going to need to edit this, but that's fine. So, let's see how this fares against something a little bit more strenuous. So, grab these two, don't need them. And now... oh, how did that happen? Stop that. So as long as the shadows are pointed downwards, it's not going to matter too much. So, face project, right, line rotation to target, and snap that down like that. So now I can edit this in any way that I like. I'm probably going to scale this up without correcting the face attributes for the time being. So scale this. Move this up a bit. Alright, time to scale this just a smidge more. Alright, now I can just edit this and move it across. Now if I just do that, edges, and I'm going to set this to vertex. I don't want a line rotation this time around. And just grab this. Can I just... Oh, I can literally just do that, huh? Okay, that works. So as long as I just make sure I correct the face attributes, like, this is pretty light work, all things considered. Z180. Ah, okay, yeah. Need to set that first. Oh, blocked air. Don't enjoy it when that happens. So now if I look from the street, it looks okay. Like, obviously there's no physical objects there to provide an instance of... Actually, what I can do, I'm gonna try this just once to see how it goes. So how many is there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's just move these around. Wait, if I'm... Okay, there we go. Okay, so now that should be like that. Except these seem to not want to move in the way that I want them to. So move that to there. The entire goal is to see if I move these. So, like, say if I move this out slightly. Or even if I just extrude this, maybe? And just... say if I hide this. I suppose that technically works, but that it doesn't look that great. I suppose I'm stuck in between a rock and a hard place when it comes to this style of doing things. Oh well, what can you do, I suppose? So I'm going to duplicate this one. Actually, no, I'm not. I'm gonna Shift D on this one. 90. Ah, now interesting. That's gonna be in a different position entirely. Need a line rotation. And then... Oh, I see what happened here. Whenever I beveled this to make the building roof, I didn't keep the size consistent. So if I scaled this out, right? So hide the tiles for now. So I just move these individually. In fact, I'm going to work on this specifically so I don't mess anything up. Okay. So I think what I did was I scaled the face in, when really what I should have been doing was probably beveling it. And now if I merge by distance, and I return back to this, yeah, okay, that makes more sense actually. Alright. Gonna quickly fix this while I'm here. And then scale these in. Okay, cool. So now, if I grab this, that. Now there is like probably a set amount where I can actually scale it and have it still look decent. And I think I may be pushing that just a tiny amount. So if I... do I want to move this a little bit first? Yeah, probably. Okay, now if I grab this, turn off correct. Okay, I'm going to scale this a bit more then. Because I can just crop the top off slightly and it'll be fine. Otherwise, I can actually just add edges to the tops of this. So I don't want a line rotation here. This should still be like that. And then I can just do that. Okay. And now, if I... grab that along here. But it's still stuck to edges. I want it to be on vertex. Alright, cool. So now that is more consistently sized. So, Alt-D. Maybe. That one can go for now. And now I can Shift-D this one and just make it up individually. And like, even if I don't use the specific texture, I can edit the texture later. So doing this now saves me a bit of time in the long run. So base project and align rotation to target. Oh, whoopsies. Just want this one, thanks. In fact, I'm gonna vertex snap this as well, just to be safe. Okay, so there should be no reason why this is a problem, except now it just wants to be a pest. Okay. Oi, Blender? No. Stop that. Okay, now if I grab the vertexes, or vertices rather. And then I can duplicate this. Z and 180. Now how did that... Oh, right, of course. Yeah, I know why I did that. It is because the origin is no longer in the middle. If I did this now, this would not be an issue. Cool, and then grabbing all of these. Why is... Okay, hide this for now. Actually, I can't hide it, because if I unhide it, it's going to unhide a whole bunch of stuff that I don't really want to do. And yet, somehow, I'm selecting something completely different. I'm sorry? Okay, so that's there. Ah, okay, there was a duplicate of this. Okay, now this should be working vaguely functionally. Except, it's doing something weird. Why is it doing that? Let's delete 7 then, because 7's not really doing... Oh, wait, that's 7 there. Deletes... Okay. It was 6 apparently. That was being strange. Okay, let's just grab this stuff here. In fact, I'm just going to grab it like this. And then pressing Alt-S. Actually, no, that just clears the scale. I was going to move them like that, but I guess not. So, grab. Okay, I guess it goes by normal. I probably just want to... Yeah. G and then C. Yeah. So now that shouldn't be clipping at all. Okay, nice. So now we have tiles on the roofs. I definitely still need guttering though. Like, that's going to be pretty important. Now... Okay, I've had a thought, chat. There is possibly a way for me to get away with making duplicate buildings like this. So... if I can find a building mock, preferably the one that's being used for this specific object. Just gonna bring back all of them for now, just so I know. Okay, so this is cube 25. So if I Alt R, okay, that's not really going to work because I just realized that all the building mocks are going to be based around the original position that they were in when I started this. So maybe, okay, I can probably just make a duplicate of this. Set origin to geometry. Oh, whoops. Actually, you know what? That's fine. Because it's not going to matter in a second. So I want to make a duplicate of this. And I want to Shift A and then... I'm pretty sure I can make this into an empty. Convert to mesh curves and grease pencil. Okay, so does an empty constitute a object? I have to know. So let's Shift A and then add empty. And then, yeah. Okay, so I've got the empty here. So if I look at this thing, alright, that doesn't work exactly the way I intended to, but that's fine. So I'm going to I'm going to get rid of that. And I'm going to... Alright. So X-ray is not available in this mode, that's fine. So I should have everything selected here. I want to cursor to selected. So that should be directly in the middle of the entire object. And now what I can do is I can grab this here and then Shift S and selected to cursor. So now, I should be able to... Actually, I'm going to change the empty that I use. I'm going to make this a single arrow, I think? Yeah. I'm going to scale this up. Like, I want this to be very obvious. So apply the scale to that. And now, selecting all of these. Getting rid of all that. And these. How do I manage to select everything? Okay, so now, if... Yeah, that's still selected. I should be able to Control P and directly to object. Now, Blender did just take a poop for a second there, but that's fine. I now have an empty. I'm going to create a new collection here. I'm going to name this Buildings. Going to move that here. And then everything associated with this, I'm going to move to the Buildings category. So now if I go back here, oh, this should be just movable to the Buildings collection. So now if I open this, all of these are hooked in together. So now if I grab this entire hierarchy, I should be able to just Alt-D. And yeah, I should be able to move this around. Now I should be able to just move that and everything goes with it. Okay, cool. So I'm going to name this Long Building. And now everything I should be able to just duplicate this. So select hierarchy, Alt D, and then using this I can just, yeah, move that out. So whenever I'm snapping the closest point, it's only going to work on this empty here, unfortunately. So maybe instead of using a arrow empty, maybe I should be using a cube. Actually, I should be removing that. So if I have a cube, I should be able to just scale... whoops. I want to scale this purely for the appearance sake. So now, this is basically more or less a bounding box now. So scale on the Y. I just want this to be directly on the corners. So scale the X. So now that should be, yeah. And unfortunately I can't edit it in edit mode. What I can do is try and get as close as possible. So scale the Z, couple. So now this should be the perfect bounding box. Except now the origin point is still in the middle. Yeah, it's because it doesn't really have any geometry, right? So how would I go about snapping this to the correct position then? Because, like, the only way I can do that is by eyeball at this point. Select hierarchy, Alt D. And then just move this. Like, I basically have to just take my best guess at it. So now, if I grab this slot, just delete everything here, I should be able to just grab this and move it into the correct position. So grab this in the X, and then grab that in the Y. And all of a sudden, we now have this, which is just another building. So I'm gonna... Do I want to nuke my entire building mocks? I probably don't need... actually, the roof mocks are kind of important. But at this point, like, the buildings are just being plonked in together. Just come to think of it, wasn't they supposed to have a roof mock attached to them? Where is that located? Okay, so this is technically a plane. So... roof. And then this one also needs to be roof. So the roofing mocks won't matter as much when I get this going. But yeah, that should work just fine. I need to mess about with a whole bunch of stuff. but I can certainly get it working. Alright, I just realised what time it is, and probably just about time to end stream shortly. But my goodness, were the roof tiles so uncooperative today. Like, they certainly didn't want to be creative, that's for sure. Good stream. I'm glad you enjoyed it there, Likely. Hopefully your chat is going well, I guess we could call it. So, do I have anyone for chat pester? Nope, absolutely nobody is online tonight. Alright, so I shall leave off like that. Hopefully tomorrow I should be able to get a bit more done. I do intend to, like, do stuff off stream, and then I just never do it. It's, like, so silly. I've got tiles, windows, roof textures, pipes, ropes, all that sort of stuff. My screen hasn't turned off since bringing it up. Well, I mean, I'm not sure if that's a good or bad thing, but hey, at least you're enjoying yourself from the sounds of it. Anyway, I shall see y'all in the next stream.